Hey everybody, Batmerk here. Today I'm going to be reviewing 1981's The Howling, directed by Joe Dante. Yeah, I'm really on this werewolf kick right now. Watching a lot of the old horror werewolf movies from back in the day that really cool. Just thought I would do a retro review on this. I think this is probably one of the best werewolf movies ever made, if not the best. It's definitely like up in the top few. This right here is just like a little fan art I drew of one of the type of werewolves on there. Just messing around. But yeah, this is a spoiler review. So basically, it starts up with this reporter named Karen, and she's basically going to meet up with a serial killer that's like a stalker, and the setting is like 1980s Los Angeles, like West LA, and there's all these like porno theaters and stuff like that. So it's real seedy and dark and scary. It kind of sets the tone for the movie. That kind of plays like a big aspect in it. So she's going to meet this like serial killer named Eddie, and he's waiting for her like in a porno theater. But the whole like investigative like reporting team is following her there, and the cops are following her though. But they basically they find him in the room, and they're watching like a snuff film or something like that, and they shoot him, and she's like traumatized, and she the next day or in the coming weeks or whatnot, she's trying to talk about what happened to her, but she can't because she's traumatized. So she sees this like shrink that was on her show, and he tells her to go to this like this like retreat place that's up in like Northern California or something like that. So she goes up there and she meets all these people, and they're kind of weird. I don't know. There's something off about them, but there's like a whole column of these people. They live kind of by the beach, kind of like Northern California somewhere, like Carmel or I don't know, somewhere like that. But anyways, they're up there, and her husband's a vegetarian, and he's just really into like fitness and stuff like that. And they slowly start to see like cattle getting like mutilated and stuff like that on one of the like farms up there in the woods. And later she finds out like there's this lady that's kind of, I don't know, she's like a witch or something like that, but she's like hitting on her husband and stuff like that, and she's trying to stay away from her. And then you know her husband's like out and about at night hunting with some of the guys in town, and he gets like a rabbit, and he doesn't know what to do with it. And so like that crazy witch lady has a brother in there, and he looks crazy too, just like the whole town. And the main character's husband asks the guy, what should I do with this rabbit? He's like, oh, go see my sister. She don't know what to do with you. It's a sin to not to eat something you kill. So he goes to see her, and then she's like a crazy like nymphomaniac, and she's like hitting on him, and he's like, oh, get off. So he leaves, and then he gets attacked by a straight up werewolf in the out in the woods. This big werewolf just scratches him up, and then they he goes home to Karen, and then they go to see the psychologist. He actually gives, I don't know if he's an MD or what, but he gives him some meds to help him feel better. And then like pretty much more or less later, you jump into the story, and he wakes up in the middle of the night, and he sees that witch out in the woods, the witch werewolf chick, and they like mess around as werewolves. It's crazy. And that's when like the effects kind of come in. They do a little bit of animation, but it looks funny. That's like one of the like the worst things about the movie is some of the animation, but it's 1981, so you can't really knock it for that. So later he comes home, and he's feeling better. Now he's not a vegetarian no more. Now he's eating steak and or whatnot. He's eating meat now, and basically basically he comes home, and then there there's like this meeting that the main character is having with the shrink, and she's trying to figure out like what happened to her when she was like meeting up with the serial killer in the beginning of the movie, and she still just has those repressed memories. She runs into her husband later, and she sees that he has scratches on his back, and he's like, that was from the attack the other night. She's like, those attacks weren't those scratches weren't there the other night when you were attacked. You've been messing around on me, like cheating on me and stuff. So he smacks her, and they have a big fight, and it's pretty bad. And yeah, so she the main character Karen has another friend, a journalist, with her boyfriend. They're kind of going around in like L.A. looking like doing studies on werewolves, just because they investigated the serial killer Eddie's house and like his apartment in L.A. and he had all this werewolf drawings and all this occult stuff like all over the walls. So they started doing an investigation, and they're going to this bookstore where there's this, I forgot the name of the actor, but he's in Gremlins. He's in like a lot of the Joe Dante movies. They go there, and they pick up a book on like lycanthropy and witchcraft, and they learn about like how to kill werewolves and stuff like that. And basically they find out that that dude Eddie is from that commune from up there, like from Northern California, and so they want to tell the main character to be careful, and so they go up there to try to find her, and then she goes to one of the houses, and she the friend of the main character, she gets attacked by a werewolf, and she's in this house. It's really cool, and like the practical effects of the use. He's trying to attack her, the wolf, and she chops his hand off, and the hand just starts to like turn back into a human hand, and it's all done with practical effects. There's no like CGI. It looks really cool, and the effects that the werewolves make when they growl, they sound really like evil. Like I don't know, it has its own like signature sound for the movie. I like it a lot. So she escapes that werewolf, and she gets back to like the doctor's office, and she finds all these files on like this family there, and I guess like the witch chick or whatever, she was the sister or the mother or something like that. She was related to Eddie, and Eddie finds her in there investigating, and he's like in werewolf form at that point. And he just like kills her, basically like bites her and stuff, and then we cut to the main character, and she goes to see the doctor. She goes to the doctor's office, and she finds her friend there dead, and all of a sudden, boom, you run into Eddie. And in that scene right there, Eddie confronts her, and she's like, "You're supposed to be dead." And he's got a big bullet hole in her head, and he's like, "I want to give you a piece of my mind." And he pulls a bullet out of his head. It's weird, the practical effects. But that scene, when he turns into the werewolf, that's like arguably the best like transformation werewolf scene. Like that scene right there is what makes the movie. I definitely recommend like just like you can even search for it probably on YouTube and just check out the Howling. The Howling one. The other there's like 10 other Howling movies. They're all dog shit. Don't even waste your time on those. But the first Howling movie, it's good. You can tell they put a lot of like love and care. The effects were done by Rob Bottin. He was a protege he was basically like training with Rick Baker back in the day, and then they both split off and did their own werewolf movies. So Rick Baker went off and did American Werewolf in London, and Rob Bottin did The Howling. So those are both like tied for probably the best werewolf movies. They're both putting their blood, sweat, and tears into them. So that one, you're definitely gonna have to check out both of those movies. But yeah, so he turns into a werewolf right there, and she throws some Karen throws some acid on his face, and she escapes. And then the girl that died's boyfriend, her best friend, he comes back. It's Dennis Dugan's the actor's name. He went on to become a director to do like Adam Sandler movies, but he's got silver bullets now. So the main killer guy from the whole beginning of the movie, he confronts him, and his face is all burned up and nasty looking. And the killer in this movie his name is Robert Picardo, and he actually played he was in the show The Wonder Years. He played a gym coach, so it's kind of funny seeing him do that. And he also played a big goblin in the movie Legend named Meg Mucklebones. But yeah, check that out too. That movie's pretty crazy by Ridley Scott. But back to the Howling. So basically, that guy Eddie, the killer, he tells that chick's boyfriend like, "Hey, take your best shot, bright boy. Take your best shot." And he's like, "You're crazy." He's like, "Oh, I'm a lot more than that. A lot more than that, bright boy. Take your best shot." So he gives him his rifle back, and that dude Dennis Dugan, he's got several bullets in there. So boom, boom, he blasts that fool, and that's it. He ain't messing around. He sees that fool's face start bubbling up, and he starts shaking and twitching and shit. And then he could hear like recordings of like a werewolf in the background that the killer is playing to kind of scare him. And he don't fuck around. He blasts that guy. So he gets out of there. He escapes, and he all the people in the town, you come to find out, they're all werewolves, and they're just living in the commune up in Northern California, and they've been around there forever, and they're trying to like adapt into society. That's why they had the doctor with them, that psychiatrist. He was trying to get them to eat cattle and not eat humans, and so they're having like a back and forth about like, this is not natural. It's not the way that we're supposed to do it. We're supposed to just eat humans, and so they're not really happy with the doctor. And that crazy like nympho like witch chick, she's like the shot caller. She's the one running it, and I think there's a comic book out too with her in it, where it's like kind of like a proper sequel to this, not like the other ones that they made in the other films. They suck. But yeah, they basically have Karen, the main character. They have her there, and they're telling her like, "Oh, we got your husband now. He's a wolf now. We could change you too." And she's probably about to do it too, but at the last minute, that guy, her best friend's boyfriend, the Dennis Dugan character, comes up, and he starts blasting those fools with his silver bullets in his rifle. So it's pretty cool. And they escape, and they get out, and they basically they lock the doors because they're in this barn. They lock the doors of the barn and set a fire, and they're still trying to escape. And then the town sheriff, he's a werewolf, and he fucking stops them, and he's shooting at him, and then the werewolves start coming up and they're attacking the car and ripping it up. And the werewolves in this movie, they just straight up look like hellhounds. Like they're demonic. They're scary looking. They're creepy looking too, and they're big. They're not like, oh, they're their own style. Like a lot of every movie, there's a different type of werewolf or lycanthrope. In the Wolfman, it's Lawrence Talbot. He's like a buff, like brutish dude that kind of like a super wolf. And then you got this movie, The Howling. These ones are kind of tall, like wolf, like ghoulish, demonic looking ones. And then you got like American Werewolf in London, where it's kind of like a big buff ass dog running around on all fours. So you get your different werewolf movies, or. But yeah, they escape, and she actually gets bit by one of the wolves in the back seat when they're trying to escape, and she blasts it. She goes back to L.A. and she's gonna do like a newscast. So she's about to start talking about it, and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna tell the whole world. I'm gonna expose the whole world." So she turns into a werewolf on television in front of like the world on the network news. She's a news anchor, but when she turns into a wolf, she looks like a little like I don't know, like a Shih Tzu or a little like puppy dog. She's blonde hair and stuff. I don't know. It's kind of funny. That's one of the things that kind of takes you out of the movie. But I could see that Joe Dante or maybe Rob Bottin wanted to do something different with the special effects, so they maybe made her look like that. But later you find out that that witch chick's still alive and she's at a bar chilling. So they're kind of opened up for the sequel, but I don't think it worked out that great in the sequel. But she orders a hamburger at the bar. This dude's like, "Oh, I'll have a steak or a country fried steak or put something like that." And the lady will have a hamburger, and she, they ask her, "How do you want the hamburger, lady?" And she's like, "I'll have it rare." And so they throw the burger on the grill, and they just film the burger for the whole end credits of the movie. It's pretty funny, and you can just sit there and watch the burger cook. And I don't know, I thought it was funny, kind of lame, but yeah, that's the movie, The Howling, 1981, Joe Dante. I definitely recommend someone taking it out. I also saw this beer right here by Flying Dog Ale. It's called Cujo. It's kind of got like a Hell Beast. It's named after the dog, I think, from the Stephen King novel probably. But it's a cold brew coffee porter, so to get that caffeine going, that fiend going. If you drink it, probably 6%. Not bad. Let's take a crack at it. See that right there? Dang, yeah, it straight up smells like coffee. Yeah, it's pretty good. Not really my type of thing. I mean, I like porters, but I don't know, the coffee's a little... Let me give it another sip. Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. But yeah, I definitely give this movie 1981's The Howling. I give it 2 horns up. The Cujo cold brew coffee porter, I'm gonna have to give it a 1 horn up. And as always, folks, yeah, thanks for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe, and we're always gonna have daily content here on metal, movies, and brewskis. Have a great night, folks.